And he said, "Do you think I wanted a 12-inch pianist?" Eh? Oh, all right. So it was. I went to the doctor's the other day about my back. I told you about when I had the injections in it. And I forgot to mention that when I went in, he said, "All right, how are you?" I was like, "Well, I'm at the bloody doctor's. How do you think I am?" I'm not popped in to say it. "Oh, I'm fine, thanks. All right, see you." So, a long time ago, back in the 90s, would have been 92 because we were doing the dogs thing, Uncharted Nights of Disgrace. So we got this gig where we had to go to Belgium to do 4 gigs in Belgium called an In Your Face. I think we were promoted by Marlborough, or we were. It was something to do with Marlborough. Spags. We all got a carton each. Ooh, whoopee. We were going to set off dead early in the van because we were driving there because we were travelling style. And I was like, oh, what, mad. I could see like something going like this under me, it's like alien was going to pop out or something. Anyway, I said, I called up the doctor. He said, come over to my house. He was a Harley Street doctor, but he lived somewhere, where was I living? I was living in West Hampstead, and he lived somewhere like bloody St John's Wood or something. They said, come round, and he basically wrote me a prescription over his breakfast table, and he said, drink milk, don't drink any alcohol, take these tablets. Them ones have to help you clean as you're not drinking, and these ones, I think you might have an ulcer. So I went to the chemist, and then I was spliffing it, so I was all right. And I was on some, but I didn't want to take any over to Belgium or anything like that. So I thought we'll get some when we're there. Little Alan, or not little Alan. So who's little Alan? Little Ian. He said, I know someone in where we're going, in wherever we were in Belgium. We can get some pollen. I'd never heard of it before, but it's all right. It was. Anyway, I was just drinking. I bought milk, and I was just drinking milk and nothing else. I didn't drink any pop, any booze, no tea. I don't think, because the water was all right. And I went to the loo after about the second or third day. I noticed it was like baby poo. It was like beige. That's how much bloody. It's like this colour of this mug, which is not white. Reminded me of that dogs. When I was a kid, all you used to see was these white dog poos, but you don't see that anymore, do you? What the hell were they putting in the pedigree chum then? Strange. Or maybe they used to eat a lot of Milky Bars. But in Wolverhampton. So, I was in Belgium. I was worried I had an ulcer, which doesn't help. If you've got an ulcer, the last thing you want to do is worry. Anyway, when I got back, he said, "Oh no, you haven't got an ulcer. You've done something to your back. That's why your stomach's hurting." Figures, doesn't it? See, that's why they're doctors and we're not, because it's like you don't go, "Oh, I got stomach ache. Must have done something to my back." You don't think that, do you? It's not the first thing that comes to your mind. It's like, "Oh, my left arm hurts. I must go to the opticians and get my eyes tested." So he said, "I'm going to send you up to." Always writing things down on bits of paper and giving me, which I couldn't read, but giving me an address. And I ended up going up to Golders Green, walked in the room, and the bloke said, "Bloody hell, you look like Ozzy Osbourne. He's just been in here." Because I had all these tattoos and everything. And anyway, he laid me on the table, did all this stuff, absolutely had no effect whatsoever. He said, "Give it a few days." I did, and it had no effect whatsoever. So I went back to Forecast, which was my doctor's name, Dr. Forecast, eh? He should have been a weatherman, shouldn't he? And he said, "Right, we're going to see this bloke." So I went and saw this bloke, and they tied me on a bed, like put these straps around me. I thought, "Oh, what's going on here? Electric shock treatment." And straps around my legs, and I'm lying flat on this bed. And then they went, "Right, we'll be back in 15 minutes," and they pressed this button, and gradually I could feel myself being stretched like this. I said, "What the bloody hell's going on here?" And then it stopped. Then I was back again, released. Then it was like, I was like, "What the hell?" Can you imagine if like it went wrong and I just like they left me there 15 minutes, when they come back I was like 18 foot long. But it didn't, and again it didn't have any effect whatsoever, except it seemed to make it worse. So they said, here, you've got to wear this this corset, right? And but it was flesh coloured, you know, when they have that. Horrible it was. I said, guys, any chance of dyeing it? Before Marilyn Manson, this was as well. I was ahead of my time. Can I dye this black? He said, well, no, I don't think it, because of what the material. Anyway, I put this bloody thing on and everything. It was horrible like this. And I couldn't sort of, I had to be like this almost all the time, walking around like this. I know it had nothing to do with my neck, but for some reason, when I was like this, it felt like I had to walk like that all the time. But and Bam went through his stage of buying different cars. Like he used to be buying different drum kits. Every time he turned up at rehearsal, he'd like have a different drum kit, testing out like all these things. He bought one pair of drums that was like a pair of drums. He bought these drums that were like a big pair of trousers. I don't know what they were. Everything went off like in two, but it looked like loads of little pair of trousers from the Backstreet Kids or someone. Where anyway, I went off on tandem. I say there. He turns up and he's bought a bloody sports car or something. I don't know what it was, but it was dead low, and I had this bloody corset on, and I come out, and you know, I was younger then, so I was taller, right? Anyway, I come out and I went, oh bloody hell! So I was like this trying to get in this bloody sports car, like this with my feet up in the air. God knows what it was. It was like a Tribe Spitfire or something ridiculous. It was a Maserati, I know that. And I got in it. Come to think of it, I think it was a Ford Sierra, nothing to do with the sports car, but it was just bloody low. So I'm sitting down like this. It was a Ford Sierra estate, come to think of it. Scabs had got it, bought it up north in an auction for about, he'd come back with two actually, one on the trailer he was going to fix up. We got both of these for 80 quid. So I'm in this bloody car like this going, oh, get out. You know, and then I couldn't get out of it, you know, it was like terrible. But I managed to. Again, nothing. Oh, I was on these pills. There was nothing was happening. It was a nightmare. I was walking with a stick, and I went to see Dr. Forecast for the fourth time. And none of these things are working. He's like, oh, I can't. You know, and why he didn't send me for an MRI scan? Maybe they weren't invented in 1992. Anybody know? Letters on a postcard. Letters on a postcard. Yeah, righto. See, this is what tea does to you. Much mix some valerian tea and green tea together. Try that out next week. He said, oh, I'll send you this bloke. He's 2 doors away. I'm like, fucking, you could have sent me there first, couldn't you? Like, you know, instead of going all over London. So he sent me to the bloke that wasn't even a doctor, actually. He was called Mr. Somebody. I think he was higher than a doctor. Because they sometimes are, aren't they? Anyway, I went in and he went, oh, he had me lying down on the couch. He's put my legs up like that, right? Which I couldn't. Well, I haven't got any socks or shoes on. It's outrageous, isn't it? And it's only 2 o'clock. And so I'm lying there like that. Can you see me? It's a bit dark, isn't it? And I was like this. And I'm like, oh, no, I can't. Right, so he made me roll over on my side. Gives me this injection in my spine. And he went, right. Sit up, and I was like, oh, yeah. And he would stand up, and I stood up, and I was like, oh, it's a miraculous. It was like, oh, brilliant. And I was like, whoa, and I'm like, you know, threw my stick away. It's some bloke on the head. I said the doctor's up there. Jumped in the nearest pub and had a pint, and I was doing cartwheels down the road and put my back out again. I had to go, mind you, that injection cost me 300 bloody quid. I was jumping around on stage. We did a gig somewhere, and I was like, oh, for some reason, I always used to like do somersaults. I don't know why, and I'd never land on my feet. Well, I wasn't trained. I wasn't a gymnast, and I mean, I'm not going to turn up with a Gretsch going, I'm just going to learn to do somersaults, please. You know what I mean? Have a trainer. So I know Neil's Loughlin used to have a trampoline behind his amps, didn't he? I don't fancy that much. I put my back out, so I had to go back, even though it's cheaper the second time, only 180 quid. Anyway, I ended up going 3 times before he suddenly said to me, you know, Tyler, because that was my name, he said, you can only have 2 more of these injections and then your back's completely knackered, so you'll have to walk with a cane and a limp and all sorts of like, oh, bloody hell again, you could have told me when I had my first injection. So I've never had an injection since, but I have had, because I'm getting on a bit now, I've got sciatica, I told you about that. what's going down my left leg. Oh, it's all sorts of bloody nightmares. All these things you get to look forward to when you're old, and it's never going to sort of go like, you're never going to go back and go, oh, great, I'm feeling like 30 again now, I'm fine, you know. It's just the way it goes, isn't it? And then, while I'm talking about injections, you know, when I was, we were in. That was a bit rude of me, wasn't it? I should have said, see you next week or something like that, or maybe ta-ra, so I'll do that there then. So, alright, thanks for watching. I'll speak to you next week. Da na 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 na. So this is when I have some titles coming up like that.